I want to talk to you about how to grow a whole orchard of money trees. How do you grow a whole orchard of money trees? How does the wealthy people become wealthy? Well, I've been studying this for my whole life. I really got really interested in success and how people were doing things when I was like 18, 19 years of age. When I started in college, my dad taught me things. I was a teenager. I've been figuring this stuff out for about, man, I hate to say it, 50 years. Yeah, well, 40, 45, a lot. But I want to talk about how do you grow a whole orchard of money trees? And this is how the wealthy become wealthy. This is how the people have generational wealth. This is how they send it to the next generation. They don't just give them the money. In fact, that's probably the last thing that they want to do, because if you don't know how to drive the Ferrari, you're going to wreck the Ferrari. The hardest thing to do is teach you how to drive the Volkswagen. And once you've taught them how to do that, then you can move up to the next vehicle, and the next vehicle. So in this section, I want to talk to you about how to grow a whole orchard of money trees. But I want to show you a slide that is very important, that fits right into our conversation. And then I'm going to work backwards into it. One of the things we talk about is, how do you get your money to work for you? How do you get your money to work for you? And one of the things we teach is long-term investing in businesses. Sometimes we buy them in the stock market because we're buying a small portion of that business, but the business makes money. Now, this is the annual returns for the Berkshire Hathaway stock. And again, my wife and I were giving away a bunch of Berkshire Hathaway stock to give you a money tree to get you started. But you can see the years that they've done well. And since the year 2000, so you got to go back the last 23 years, you can see that they were up 26%, up 6%, lost a little bit, up 15, up 4, up, lost some, up, lost, up, lost, boom, up. So when you take and look at the number of years that they did well, yes, they're going to have some down years. They're going to have some down years, and they're going to have some up years. And it's kind of like riding a roller coaster. I just I took my granddaughters to the carnival over the 4th of July. And when you go to these big amusement parks and things like that, there's all kinds of rides. You can get on the merry-go-round, and the merry-go-round goes around and around and around. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a bond. You're either going to loan or you're going to own things. Now, if you don't like the roller coaster, or you don't like these scary rides, well, don't get on them. I don't get on them anymore. In fact, I get a scooter. I've had 2 back surgeries, and mine is I spend an extra $35 and get a scooter that takes me around the park, because I just can't walk like I used to walk. But the real goal is to figure out, how do you get your money to work for you? How do you get your money to work for you? Generational wealth. The wealthy do a couple things that the other people don't do. And it's really not that complicated. It's very, very simple. It's getting your money to work for you. Now, we've talked about multiple times about the 5 steps to financial freedom and the wealth formula. But with looking at this one slide right here, that's really going to kind of change how you look at things, because that is the crucial part that most people don't understand. And it's the rate of return. It's getting a return on your investments. So you can see that, in the year 2000, at the top of the page, that the Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway stock did 26%. It went up dramatically, then 6%, then down to lost 3%. But you can see that it's outperformed, it's made a profit more years, and a big profit, than the years that it's lost. So with that in mind, I want to really take you to really understand the 5 steps. And most importantly is the wealth formula. And the most important part of that, if you're looking to be able to create generational wealth, it's in the wealth formula, and it's really in the rule of 72, the compounding effect. And, I know billionaires. I've worked with billionaires. I invest with some billionaires. They're wonderful people, very giving. In fact, when we're doing this big National Day of Service with these eyeglasses, some of my friends donated some money to help buy eyeglasses as well. That's what these people do. But I really want to take you through the 5 steps again, and really the wealth formula. And the most important part is the compounding effect. Okay. So I want to take you there now. So let's go do a little bit of doodling. And you can see that when we talk about the 5 steps, we want to talk about the 5 steps. I want all of you to get out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to doodle with this. I want you to draw this. But number 1 is to make more money. Now, every day when you get out of bed, you should be going through these steps. You should be going through these steps and saying, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? How can I make more money? The way you do that is by solving problems. What are the problems that you see in your marketplace? You're going to look around, you're going to see problems. Most people run away from problems. We run towards those problems. Okay, we want to solve problems. We want to add value. What are the things that you can do to add value to whatever you're doing? Now, I don't care if you're working at a job. I don't care if you're running your own business. These are the things that we want you to be, because we want you to be more valuable. And you need to study successful people. Now, most people make money off of a job. A lot of people have 2 jobs, or their spouse works. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't matter if it's your small business or your job, you're going to do these 3 things. You're going to solve problems, you're going to add value, and you're going to study successful people. And your job is to become more valuable. Your job is to become more valuable in that business. Number 2, you need to separate your money. You need to separate it into 3 groups. Number 3, you need to give some away. You need to give some away to the churches or charities of your choice. It's a spiritual law, but it is a business law. Number 4 is to automatically invest. This is the most crucial thing that you can do. You've got to automatically invest. And number 5 is to save and spend. Now you'll notice that the save is not over in number 4. It is in number 5. You need to save for a rainy day because you might need that money to spend. But once we put the money over here, we want that money to work for us. Now, the key to being successful is that you need to learn how to make more money. That's just that simple. And if I was in an elevator with you and I only had 30 seconds to tell you what to do, I would say, learn how to be more successful and make more money. You need to make more money. You need to separate it, and you need to automatically invest. If I only had 20 seconds, I'd say, you need to learn how to make more money by studying successful people, and you need to automatically invest. And if I had 10 seconds with you, I'd say automatically invest, automatically invest, automatically invest. That is the key to building generational wealth. So that is the 5 steps. Now, the second part to that 5 steps is the wealth formula. And the wealth formula it could be the wealth formula or the wealth recipe. It's very simple. You need to put money away every 2 weeks. Every time that you get paid, you need to put money away. Times have it go up in value. You need to get your money working for you. Times time. You need to do this for a period of time. That equals wealth. Now, as I've studied successful people, and I've studied a lot of successful people, they do this one thing, because step number 4 is to automatically invest. So we're going to take that automatically money in investing, and we're going to run it right here and run it through that system. Put money away. Every time you make money, times have it go up in value. Times time equals wealth. Now, the reason this is important is because of the rule of 72. The rule of 72 says that you take the rate of return that you're getting times the number of years. That equals 72. So if you are getting a 6% rate of return times 12 years, that equals 72. Your money is doubling every 12 years. Catching that? If you are putting your money in at 3%, it's 24, because 3 times 24 equals 72. If you're getting a 3% rate of return, it takes 24 years. This is what we're looking at right there. If you have your money in the bank at 1%, it takes 72 years for your money to double. If you have your money at 12%, 12 times 6 equals 72. It takes 6 years for your money to double. This is why the wealthy are getting more wealthy. They solve bigger problems. They put a bigger chunk of money in. They put more money into their long-term investments. And then they have it going up in value. I don't care if it's 6% or 12% or 8%, whatever it is, but they do that over time. And the key is, how many times can you double that before you die? That's really kind of how you do it. And then when you give it to your kids, can they continue to double it? That's the formula. Very, very simple. Now, if you have your money, if you have no money in your automatically invest, then this doesn't work, because you're not multiplying anything. You've got to figure out how to get some money in here. Number 2 is you need to get it growing. If you put your money in your savings account at 1%, and then you borrow money on your credit card at 21%, it takes you 72 years for you to double your money. It takes the bank 3 years to double their money. And the sad part is, they took your money out of your checking account and loaned it back to you on your credit card at 21%, and they're doubling their money every 3.4 years. That's how you do it. So that is how you create generational wealth. Then we come back here to this slide that I wanted to show you. This is the reason that we do the long-term investing. And again, it's a roller coaster. Some years it goes up, some years it goes down. Buffett loves it when it goes down, because he has businesses that are making money and he can buy more of that company. But the one thing that every one of his companies does is that they make money. Every business that he invests in, what he looks at is, does it make money? Does it make money, and how much money does it make? And can I predict over the next handful of years how much money it will make off of its gross sales? How much sales will they do, and how much will they make? And then he looks at it and says, okay, by doing a simple math, then this is what we think the whole business is worth. And the business is worth the positive income, the profit that it makes, times some kind of a multiplier. And that determines the total value. Now, sometimes the marketplace overvalues things. sometimes it undervalues things. The market is nuts. It's not like talking to an individual. It's a lot of people doing lots of things, and the world of supply and demand changes, and it changes how people perceive the marketplace, and it changes where money's going. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the supply and demand for a second here. So I want you to really get this part right here. This is the crucial part. If you have your money at 1% or 0, it will never double. You've got to get your money working for you. Now, that doesn't mean you go invest in crazy things. We invest in boring companies that make money. Now, with that being said, you're saying to yourself, well, how am I going to get my money making me money at a 6% rate of return or a 12% rate of return over a long period of time? Well, the ones that I'm going to tell you to do to get started with, and again, this is why we give away Berkshire Hathaway stock, because there's 4 ways that you can start investing in the stock market. Again, the reason we start with the stock market is because it's easy, but you are going to add your small business here. So this is your job, but the real key is to add a small business on top of that. And multiple small businesses and real estate. We're going to do these side hustles, and as they make money, we want to take that money and we want to drop it into that automatically invest. We want to throw that into the wealth formula. Okay. That's the key, is getting that down into that wealth formula. So as we make this extra money, really you just want to get it into that wealth formula so that it'll work for you. Money at work and people at work. Now, let me show you going back to the rule of 72 and why that's so important. I'm going to give you one example of some long-term real estate that we did. Okay. And this real estate that we did, we bought a 4-unit building. Those 4 units. Now, when you guys watch guys like Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone and these guys, one of the problems is that they are talking about big complexes, 50 units, 100 units. These guys own thousands of units, and they say you should be like that. Well, a small percentage of you can be like that. So you've got Dave Ramsey on this one side saying, get out of personal debt, which I agree with. You shouldn't be in personal debt. And then you've got these guys like Kiyosaki that are on the other side saying you need to be leveraged up to the hilt in debt, but only if the debt is making you money. Is it buying assets that make you more money? And there is a happy medium in there. Most people should start out more with the Dave Ramsey side and learn how to do that, but do the 5 steps, because I'm in the middle of those 2 guys. I like to do both of those things. So the key here is to be able to understand how to do that. So as we talk about real estate, I'm going to give you one example of that and the rate of return. So I bought a building, and that building was $250,000. Now, depending on where you live, that could be a lot, it could be little. It doesn't matter. The key was, what is the income? What's the income as a percent of the purchase price? Now, this happened to be four units, and the higher the rate here compared to that is ideal. Now, if you ever could find a property that gave you a 1% rule. Now, the 1% rule, I'm just going to show you real here. For if you spend $100,000 on a door, which means in one unit, and you picked up $1,000 in rent, that's nirvana. Okay, that's your purchase price to buy the unit, and it's making that much per month. That's what we call the 1% rule. Very rarely can you find that, but if you do, you could buy properties all day long, because it's going to have enough rental income to be able to pay this off and pay it off quickly. Most places, it's less than that. It's saying, hey, for every $100,000 in price, the monthly rent is only $500, which is a half of 1%. okay, which is point, it's 1/2 of 1%. So that is part of the key. Now, luckily, these properties I bought were cash flowing. They had enough rent. And what I did is when I bought them with nothing down, and I got a $250,000 loan on them. And it was called seller financing. I literally was paying the seller their money. Now, as you go through the road to wealth and the multiple streams of income and the real estate launch, there's great classes in all this. But the key I wanted to teach you is that I had a very small down payment. Okay, I really literally had, in this particular one, I really had not much. I had zero in it. I just came in and took over some existing financing. Now, it took 24 years. 24 years. So over a 24 years period of time, the loans went down to zero. So they were started at 250,000, but the loans went down to zero. But over a 24-year period of time, the price went up to 500,000. It doubled in value. Now, what that said was they went up 3% a year times 24 years. That equals 72. Those properties took 24 years for them to double in value. So I bought them for 250. They paid down to zero. I had loans on them. I had rental income in there, and I was paying off the loans. I had to do all the maintenance, the management, everything. But over that 24-year period of time, they doubled in value. Now you have to say, well, what is your rate of return? Well, the real key is how much money did you have invested? See, if I would have put $50,000 down and they went up to be worth 500, I put 50,000 down and they went up to be 500, I 10x'd my money. I took $1 and turned it into 10. Okay. So if I would have put $50,000 down and that 50,000 over that 24 years period of time, I didn't get just a 3%. I got a 10x. Okay. I got 1,000% rate of return over that period of time because my down payment was small and I borrowed the rest of that money to do it. Now you've got to have product that makes money. You've got to have some rental income that makes money. You have to handle the maintenance and the taxes and the management, and it's no fun. But I did this, and you can see that we made a real good profit. Now, the other point was I had 20 of them. I had 20 of them. And that's how we funded the foundation. We gave 3 buildings to the foundation, and that's how we started it. So when you understand the rule of 72, if I would have put 0 in there, which I did, and I made this much money on it over 24 years period of time, well, that's infinite. That's a huge rate of return. If I would have put $50,000 down on it, and that 50,000 turned into 500,000, then I 10x'd my money. So that's the key to long-term. And so as you look at these people that have these long-term, make money over a long period of time, that's one of the ways they did it, is they did it with long-term real estate. The wealth formula, if you're going to put money into long-term stock, you've got 4 choices. Okay, you can pick and choose. You can pick and choose which companies that you invest in. You can do a mutual fund. You can do an index. Or you can do my favorite, which is BRK, Berkshire Hathaway. That's Buffett. Now, Buffett is 90. He's going to be 93 years old in August. He's 4 days younger than my dad. My dad's 4 days older than him. I'm just so grateful that Buffett is still alive. I'm so grateful that my dad was with me for 86 years, that he was on this earth. But there's 4 ways that you can do this. Now, if you pick and choose, there are thousands of different companies that you can pick and choose from. The problem with picking and choosing is that you buy at the wrong time, you sell at the wrong time. By the time you hear the news, it's usually too late. Okay. So that's why I don't recommend picking and choosing. Now, some of you are going to get there and say, hey, I'm going to take my money and go make more money with my money. So I'm going to go gamble. I'm going to go see if I can buy it here and sell it there, buy it here, sell it there. It doesn't work. For every winner, there's a loser, and everybody pays commission. Now, a mutual fund is where we're going to pay a professional to pick and choose for us. And he's going to pick these ones right here, and he's going to manage it. The problem with that is that they're going to charge you a fee to do that. And that fee, let's just say that it's 1%. It could be as high as 2%, but let's just say it's 1%. So if you made a 6% and they took out 1, your net is 5. Okay. So basically you lost about 15 to 20%. If it was 2%, then your net is 4, and it costs you 33% to have them manage that for you. Now that would be fine if their rate of return was much higher. But an index is like the 500 biggest companies in America. That's why we like the S&P 500. It's 500 of the biggest companies in there. And guess what? They don't pick and choose. They just say, show me the 500 biggest companies. And the fee to do that is really, really small. So if you made a 6% rate of return and the fee is like 0.25, then you'd be making 5.25 or 5.75% return on your money. So the reason this is good is because the fee is low. Okay, the fee is low. That's why we like an index fund. Now, the reason I like Berkshire Hathaway is because it's a stock, but that stock it's a big insurance company. And it has $150 billion in cash that makes money. And when you do insurance, you pay your insurance premium here, and you probably won't have an accident for years. And they take all that money and they invest that money. And then when you have an accident, then they pay you back and they pay for your claim. But over 50, 60 years, they've had the ability to buy and invest in these wonderful companies at great prices. So as a result, Berkshire Hathaway, over a long period of time, you notice that 20-year period, over a long period of time, has outperformed the S&P 500. Some years the S&P 500 does better, some years Berkshire Hathaway does better. Over a long period of time, Berkshire does better than the S&P. The S&P makes more money than mutual funds because of the fee structure. And these all make more money than that. Now, I thought I was pretty smart, and I thought I was smarter than Buffett, and I was for a couple of years. And then the market changed on me, and I just got my butt kicked. Okay, so that's why you spend your time not gambling in the marketplace or gambling and doing that stuff or trading in the marketplace. You spend your time making more money and doing that with your small businesses, and then get that money down in here into your wealth formula. And then you take that wealth formula and let these other guys work on making that worth more money over time. That's the key to long term. Okay. And so you're going to be investing, you're going to be buying real estate, you're going to be doing small businesses, and you're going to be investing your whole life. That's how the wealth and the wealthy people become successful, as they do these things. The real key is, how do you take your cash, how do you take your money and get a rate of return over time and have it double in value? And how many times can you double that in a 20-year period of time? Now, if you make a lot of money and you put it down here, you'll make a lot, it'll work faster. Okay. But this is kind of the key. So that's the section I wanted to talk to you about on this first section, which is it's probably more information you wanted to know, but really the 5 steps to financial freedom, that's what it is. It's really the wealth formula. And in 30 seconds, if I can only get you to do one thing, is that you need to set up an automatic investment. So money goes into that long term. We're going to get on the roller coaster. Some years it goes up, some years it goes down. We only invest in businesses that make money. We're not investing in gold or anything like that. You can buy some of that if you want as part of your asset allocation. But the money we give you, we're going to request that you put it into Berkshire Hathaway. That's why we're giving our Berkshire Hathaway stock away. So we're going to say goodbye to our friends from around the world. We're going to come back and I'm going to show you briefly about how to grow a whole orchard of money trees. Okay, we'll be right back in just a second.